Welcome to Why You Should Care, where we take a look at the day's top stories. I'm Jamal Simmons. 10 2020 Democrats are making their way to Atlanta, Georgia for the 5th Democratic debate. We've got a few things to watch out for, but it's the most overshadowed debate yet, given today's testimony from Ambassador Gordon Sondland. We're going to take a look at the key moments. And why you should care about all this impeachment stuff? We're going to let partisans make their cases directly to you. 10 Democratic candidates will take the debate stage tonight in Atlanta. The four leaders, Vice President Joe Biden, Mayor Pete Buttigieg, Senator Elizabeth Warren, and Senator Bernie Sanders, are hoping to secure their spots at the top and give a strong performance to gain momentum heading into the Iowa caucuses. They will share the stage with 6 other candidates: Senator Kamala Harris, Amy Klobuchar, Cory Booker, former tech executive Andrew Yang, Representative Tulsi Gabbard, and billionaire and philanthropist Tom Steyer, who are all hoping for their own breakout moments. Here to talk about what we should be watching for tonight is Hill reporter Max Greenwood. Max, you wrote about this today. Tell us what you got.
So, I think we're going into this tonight looking at a few different things. The number one thing I'm going to be looking at is how do the other candidates deal with Pete Buttigieg? He's had some strong polling numbers in Iowa and New Hampshire recently. He's got a lot of momentum behind his campaign. And, if the past is any indicator, I think what you get is everyone's going to go after that front runner, or the perceived front runner in this case. So it's going to be interesting to see how he deals with that criticism, what kind of criticism he gets, and if he can actually take a punch. The other thing that we're really going to be looking at is, can Elizabeth Warren allay some concerns about her electability? So if you look back to the last debate, Pete Buttigieg went after her hard over Medicare for all, how she would pay for it, this pie in the sky sort of policy. And I think in this particular case, she's taken some steps to alleviate those concerns.
Well, she's got a couple of different problems here on that question, right? On one hand, she said she's for Medicare for all. She's put out this big program. She's come up with a big way to pay for it. On the other hand, she's put out this stair-step incremental thing that might happen because she may not have the Democrats in the Senate to help her pass a plan that she says, here's what I can do immediately, which doesn't appease the progressives. So on one hand, she may be trying to appease some of the people in the middle who are worried about swing voters, but she's maybe POing the progressives.
Well, I think that's exactly what she's doing. I think she's trying to play this middle ground between saying, listen, I will take action, and I'm not going to go for Medicare for all right off the bat. That won't be until year 3. What I'm willing to do right off the bat is support some more incremental policies. And, while that may appease some moderates who have been concerned about her electability and her ability to actually get things done in office, it's going to tick off some progressives who, frankly, are all in on Medicare for all.
There's a real possibility that she's made the judgment that she can't really appease the die-hard Bernie progressives, right? Because if you look at what's happening online, I'm sure it's happening on our YouTube page right now. If you look at what's happening, people just don't give Elizabeth Warren a lot of credit, even though she's kind of lined up with Bernie Sanders on a lot of issues. So the online progressives seem to really be taking her to task, even when she tries to be pure. So then why be pure if you're not going to get credit for it?
Look, Bernie Sanders' base of support is probably the strongest of any candidate. There are people that supported him in 2016 that have not changed their mind in 2019 and frankly aren't going to change their mind. I think where they see Elizabeth Warren is trying to jump on that same train, particularly with Medicare for all, which is Bernie Sanders, he's a progenitor of that in the presidential race.
So what happens to Bernie here? Does Bernie have any tests tonight that he needs to be worried about? I mean, we've seen him now come back from his health scare, but is anybody worried about what Bernie Sanders might do on the stage?
I don't think anyone's really worried about what he's going to do on stage. I've talked to people on that campaign, and they're feeling really good about this. He did have a heart attack last month, but if you look at how he's rebounded from that, he has the endorsement of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, of Ilhan Omar, of Rashida Tlaib, these really high-profile progressives in the House. He's drawing huge crowds at his rallies. He had a huge turnout in New York, I believe, last month. And I think they're really feeling good about it. His job here is to continue to communicate his policies, which is exactly the kind of position he wants to be in.
Now for today's big story, Ambassador to the European Union and Trump appointee Gordon Sondland testified in front of the House Intelligence Committee this morning, and it was explosive. As late as yesterday, many committee watchers were wondering if Sondland might plead the fifth, but instead he did the opposite. He ran and told that. He told the committee that everything he did was at the direction of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, or the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo. He told them that he was forced to work with Rudy Giuliani, although he and his team didn't want to.
We did not want to work with Mr. Giuliani. Simply put, we were playing the hand we were dealt.
Sondland was upfront about a quid pro quo. He told the committee that Giuliani's request for the Ukrainians to issue a public statement about an investigation into the Bidens and Burisma was a quid pro quo for arranging a White House meeting. And later, Sondland came to understand that the military aid was also a part of the deal. He said this request expressed the desires of the president.
Was there a quid pro quo? As I testified previously, with regard to the requested White House call and the White House meeting, the answer is yes.
Sondland implicated Secretary of State Mike Pompeo for directing officials to speak with Rudy Giuliani. He said he sent emails reporting on his activities to Pompeo, acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney, and others. Sondland also said he brought up the quid pro quo with Vice President Pence and Republican Senator Ron Johnson.
Everyone was in the loop. It was no secret. Everyone was informed via email on July 19th.
He fingered the whole gang. This is a tough testimony for the president to rebut without going after his own ambassador's credibility, which is something the president has done to other witnesses already. Sondland spoke directly with the president several times, and he has emails and WhatsApp messages to back up his statements. On another note, Chairman Schiff reminded the public that the Nixon impeachment included an article on obstructing the congressional investigation. Sondland repeatedly blamed his previous statements on the White House and State Department's refusal to let him see emails and official records. The administration has also refused to hand such documents over to the committee. Why you should care about all this? Democrats and Republicans on the House Intelligence Committee are divided on this very question. Hear what the chairman and ranking member have said.
Speaker Pelosi and the Democrats on this committee are seeking the truth. They would want to know the answers to the following questions that they refused to ask. To what extent did the whistleblower coordinate with the Democrats on this committee and/or his staff? What is the full extent of Ukraine's election meddling against the Trump campaign in 2016? Why did Burisma hire Hunter Biden, and what did he do for them? And did his position impact any U.S. government actions under the Obama administration?
This is why Americans should care about this. Americans should care about what happens to our allies who are dying, but Americans should care about their own national security and their own president and their own constitution. And they will need to ask themselves, as we will have to ask ourselves in Congress, are we prepared to accept that a president of the United States can leverage official acts, military assistance, White House meetings, to get an investigation of a political rival? Are we prepared to say, well, you know, I guess that's just what we should expect in a president of the United States? I don't think we want to go there.
Thanks for watching Hill TV on YouTube. Be sure to click subscribe and hit the bell so you know when we post new videos. And head to thehill.com for all the latest political news.